in here. A lot to talk about today, of course. Taylor Swift dominating the movie theaters and our television screens. Plus, I went to New York Comic Con. I'll give you some recap and some thoughts on my New York Comic Con experience. And Martin Scorsese's got a new movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. How will it do this coming weekend? And Frasier's on Paramount Plus and on YouTube for free now, and more. So we'll break it all down. Let's start with the box office. If you're watching live on YouTube, thank you. You can send in your questions and your comments. Number one, of course, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. The estimate right now is $96 million. AMC and Variance, the studios behind it, are kind of giving a 95 to 97 million range. They should just call it 96. But I like the fact that they're not saying 100 yet if they don't think it's going to get there. You don't want to say we made 100 and then it ends up making less when the actual results are released tomorrow. You would rather go under with the estimate and then over-deliver, overperform, which it could. We'll see what happens when the actual results are released tomorrow. I will be seeing the movie soon. I'll give you my thoughts on Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour when I see it soon. I was at New York Comic Con on Thursday. A lot of stuff going on the last few days. I'll tell you some thoughts and some things going on here in a second. Even with 96 million for the Eras Tour, which is a gigantic weekend, no question about it, one of the biggest October weekends ever, and about the 15th or 16th biggest weekend of the last 3 years for any movie in terms of an opening weekend. Hello Jackson says, Eric Degliomini, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. Other movies still did okay. Look at The Exorcist Believer. Had a bit of a drop, but still double digits, all things considered, $11 million. It is at 44.9. Paw Patrol The Mighty Movie in its next weekend here, $7 million, its third weekend, 49.9, basically $50 million. The first Paw Patrol movie totaled 40, so we're already well past what the first one did. How high can this go? With some animated movies opening in the next few weekends, The Canterville Ghost, Inspector Sun. I have interviewed the directors of both of those movies. You'll get those podcast episodes and Animation Scoop Q&As over the next week and a half. But they're not going to be gigantic box office players. So how high will Paw Patrol go? We will have to see. Saw X made another 5.7 million. It's at 41.4, and we're still a few weeks away from Halloween. So a couple weeks away. So these movies are going to continue to make money. Maybe Saw will make a run at 50 million. Maybe The Exorcist will make a run at 60 million. And The Nun 2 added 1.6 million. It's at 83.8. Maybe it gets past 85, 86 million and above. A Haunting in Venice added 2.1 million. It's at 39. I did not think it was even going to get this high based on the $14.5 million opening weekend for A Haunting in Venice in mid-September. But look, the movie is set on Halloween, and we're still a couple of weeks away from Halloween, and this may try to get as close as it possibly can to the 45.6 million of last year's Death on the Nile. Would Disney reconsider what I think they were thinking after weekend number one, which is why bother continuing with these Hercule Poirot movies? The drops have been small over the last couple weekends. It will get past 40 million, and it may try to get to that 45 of the last one. Would they consider another Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot movie? Depends on the budget, depends on the angle they want to go. Now I think this opens the door a little bit more, not completely, but a little bit more, to the possibility of another Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot film. The Creator added 4.3 million. It's at 32.4. The Blind made another 2 million. It's at 14. And then The Equalizer 3 added 960,000. It's up to 90.6 million. As we've talked about here on LCJ Live, the first two Equalizer movies both made barely over 100 million. We're now barely over 90 for this one. Still a strong effort here from Sony and The Equalizer 3 for this franchise. For three movies in a franchise that's not, Transformers or a Marvel movie or a DC movie, to earn all three installments over $90 million, that says a lot. Dumb Money added 920,000. It's at 12.6. And the Hocus Pocus re-release in its second weekend did about $900,000. In limited release, Anatomy of a Fall, a film that's getting a lot of good buzz and good attention. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Made $125,000 this weekend in 5 theaters for a strong $25,000 per screen average. That is a movie I think that'll build and build. If it's as good as people say it is, as the award season and the fall goes on, Neon going to position this as a strong player. A lot of movies open this week, whether it's in theaters or on a streaming service. Killers of the Flower Moon, of course, is the biggest. It's Martin Scorsese's new movie from Paramount and Apple with Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, and Robert De Niro. I will be seeing Killers of the Flower Moon this week. I have a few colleagues who have seen it already. I will be checking it out this week, all 3.5 hours. It's The Irishman all over again. Another 3.5 hour Martin Scorsese movie. We'll see how it is. It just depends on how big the drop is for Taylor Swift Week 2. If the drop is gigantic, I mean, I don't know what the drop is going to be. I don't think anybody knows what the drop for Taylor Swift is going to be. If the drop is down to like 12 million or something insane like that, then yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be number one next weekend. It just depends on how big the fall is for Taylor Swift, how many fans wanted to wait a week to see this movie. You know, a lot of people, myself included, thought that the Taylor Swift film was going to get over 100 million this weekend, and it might, maybe even do 115 or 120. We saw how strong the pre-sale numbers were. We didn't fully know what the percentage was of weekend one versus the rest of its run. My gut says Killers of the Flower Moon will be number one next weekend. I really think it will, maybe with close to $30 million. It just depends on how big the Taylor Swift drop is and how many people want to go see a 3.5 hour Martin Scorsese movie right away. Old Dads is a new comedy on Netflix coming Friday with Bill Burr. Payne Hustlers is in select theaters, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Of course, one of my favorite actresses, Emily Blunt, is in it. Then it'll be on Netflix soon. Foe with Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal expands to more theaters this week. I'm going to check it out soon. Naiad opens in select theaters. That's getting a lot of buzz. Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. That'll be on Netflix soon. And The Canterville Ghost from Shout Studios. New animated version of the classic Oscar Wilde story. My conversation with co-director Robert Chandler will be available tomorrow. And available today, when you're done watching LCJ Live, go to animationscoop.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check and see if it's there because it was supposed to go live at noon. And it is live. Once Upon a Studio is a brand new short that airs tonight on ABC as part of a big Disney 100 celebration with Kelly Ripa and Encanto. And this Once Upon a Studio short is wonderful, and I spoke with the filmmakers of it in Hollywood, California last month. That Q&A is up right now. You can read it after you're done watching LCJ Live over at animationscoop.com. If you have some time tonight, 8 o'clock, ABC, watch this short, Once Upon a Studio. Let's see what else is going on. A lot with Comic-Con, and one of the big headlines that came out of New York Comic-Con yesterday, the premiere of Grimmsburg will be January 7th. This is a new Fox animated comedy series, executive produced by and starring John Hamm, and it's a detective show. I spoke with showrunner Chad Ginden earlier midweek, and you can get that Q&A as well at animationscoop.com. He's got some good insights on the show, which will premiere after an NFL doubleheader on Sunday, January 7th. Also, some big news yesterday that didn't have to do with Comic-Con, but then I'll get to more Comic-Con stuff, including Good Burger. I got the Good Burger pin for Good Burger 2. Some interesting animation news yesterday. Shrek the Halls, which premiered and aired on ABC for 15 years, moves to NBC this holiday season with The Grinch, which also used to be on ABC. So Shrek the Halls will air starting November 30th and again on December 16th, according to the Futon Critic, on NBC. I remember when Shrek the Halls aired for the first time in 2007, 20 million people watched it because you had just come off of Shrek the Third and everybody wanted to see what was going on with these characters. It was similar to Toy Story of Terror when that aired for the first time in 2013. It had been 3 years since Toy Story 3, and more than 10 million people wanted to know what was going on with these characters. Toy Story of Terror, by the way, airs again next Sunday on ABC after The Nightmare Before Christmas, which also, by the way, is in theaters this week. I forgot the re-release of Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's also on ABC next Sunday night, so that's interesting. So Shrek the Halls will air on NBC. It did not air on a network last year. Its final airing on ABC was in 2021. Why is this change happening? Because Universal, NBC, is the distributor of DreamWorks content now. And I think they wanted to take away Shrek the Halls from ABC, which is Disney, and they wanted full ownership of it. Of course, Universal and DreamWorks had released the Puss in Boots movie last year to big box office numbers. So now they want Shrek the Halls to be with The Grinch and Trolls Holiday in Harmony for the second airing. Of course, the big new Trolls movie is out in a few weeks from DreamWorks. So that is why you get this big network change. And a lot of people say, it's just flipping a channel. Yeah, but it's a big deal. For an animated holiday special as iconic as that, as something that aired to 20 million people for the first time back in 2007, and a brand like Shrek to go somewhere else is very interesting, and so that will be happening. I had such a good time at New York Comic Con. Big John is here with me. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. James C. as well. Hello, how you guys doing? I had such a good time at New York Comic Con on Thursday. I got to meet an icon. Robbie says the Shrek the Halls news shocked me to my core. It's a little surprising. It is. I got to meet Susan Sarandon on Thursday. Let me tell you about my experience meeting Susan Sarandon. It was brief, but I had a great conversation with her. We talked about a mutual friend of ours, Lorraine Scafaria, who directed Susan in The Meddler. What a great movie from 2016. And when I said that to Susan, I'm friends with Lorraine Scafaria, she said, oh, I love her. The Meddler is one of my son's favorite movies, and I'm so thrilled for Lorraine's success, including with Succession. And I said, yes, I hope she wins the Emmy this year. Susan Sarandon was lovely. She was very friendly. She had a smile the whole time, very warm, down to earth. It was a pleasure meeting her. She's probably one of my favorite actresses, primarily because I think of The Meddler and some of the other movies that she's been in over the years. I haven't seen all of her filmography, but she was very nice. It was very cool to meet an Oscar-winning Best Actress at New York Comic Con, a Hollywood legend who was there signing autographs and taking photos with people, and it was a pleasure. I had a nice conversation with her. I thank her very much and her assistants and people for that. And I had a great time in New York Comic Con also meeting Emma Tommy, who is the director of Five Nights at Freddy's, which opens in a couple weeks. And we have a great conversation coming to animationscoop.com as well. And the makers of Scavenger's Reign, which is a new Max animated series premiering this week. And I got to go to a Disney area for family content and their animated shows, which was awesome. I got to do the Disney Channel Wand, which was a highlight of the day. That was a thrill. Yeah, as I said to them, it brought me back to the Lizzie McGuire days of watching Disney Channel and seeing all those actors like Hilary Duff do that. And I got to go to Nickelodeon area and participate in the Good Burger game, which was so much fun. And I got to see the Jason Blum panel, where he brought on Emma Tommy, as well as the directors of Totally Killer and Night Swim, and they showed some clips, and it was some interesting insights from Jason Blum. I will say Jason Blum, I didn't have a chance to meet Jason Blum, but I saw him afterwards sign probably 100 Five Nights at Freddy's pizza boxes, which was an exclusive you got at the panel. Right at the end of the panel, everybody went up to the stage, and he signed as many as he possibly could before they had to clear the room and get everybody out. And Jason Blum said after he signed 100 and probably took 20 or 30 selfies with people, he said, I wish I could stay and do them all, but they're kicking us out. I'm really sorry. And he was genuine about that. He seemed like a very nice guy and a total boss who really calls the shots with a smile. So that was cool to see that from Jason Blum, one of the most powerful guys in entertainment right now. Look at all these movies. Exorcist, Totally Killer, Night Swim is coming, Five Nights at Freddy's is coming, and all that has come before in terms of Blumhouse. And he's going to be on Shark Tank next week. So it was nice to see that he's a nice guy. Emma Tommy was very nice. The Scavenger's Reign people, I think the folks at Max and Universal very much. And everybody at Disney and Disney Junior and Nickelodeon. And everybody at New York Comic Con. I had a good day. It was fun. It's always, I like being there to see the atmosphere of people excited to be there. There were a lot of Barbies and Kens walking around in the Barbie and Ken costumes, and some other cool shows and movies, and some awesome booths. Fox Animation Domination booth was there, and some other ones. So good experience at New York Comic Con. I'll have some more on that later this week. But thank you to everyone there for having me. It was a great time. And it still runs today. Next time for LCJ Live will likely be on Saturday. That's not 100% locked in, but probably. And we'll talk about how Killers of the Flower Moon does, and I'll share my thoughts on that later this week, and some more movies and shows. Thank you for watching today's episode of LCJ Live. If you Want to subscribe to the YouTube channel? Please do. It's youtube.com/lightscamerajackson. Turn on the notifications so you get notified of when I go live. It's usually Sunday at noon, but Eastern, but sometimes it's other times. And of course, go to Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson. You can watch my Disney Wand video there if you haven't seen it yet. And the website, lights-camera-jackson.com. Thanks for watching today's episode of LCJ Live, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.